What's your take on BBI?
BBI is a fraud. It is an orchestrated fraud by Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. The agenda for this orchestrated fraud is to have a rerun for 2022, is to create factional fights between the oligarchy, between one oligarchy led by Uhuru Kenyatta and the other oligarchy led by William Ruto, for purposes of controlling power in perpetuity for their selfish gains. I don't think Raila Odinga is a player in the BBI. He's a pretender, but he's not a player. Raila Odinga has no power, zero power in the government of Kenya. Raila Odinga has no control over Uhuru Kenyatta. Raila Odinga is just a conman who wants money and has realized that he can get more money if he supports Uhuru Kenyatta. But he has no values, he does not stand for him. BBI is one existential threat to the Kenyan state, Kenyan stability, the democratic system in Kenya, the rule of law, and the constitution. There is no reason why anyone would want to convince Kenyans that they need to change the constitution that has not been implemented. There is no reason why somebody would want Kenyans to believe that this constitution of Kenya 2010 caused post-election violence. It did not. This constitution of Kenya 2010 did not steal the elections of 2017. Uhuru Kenyatta did. This constitution of Kenya 2010 did not loot Kenya's resources. Uhuru Kenyatta and his group did. This constitution of Kenya 2010 did not grab public land. Uhuru Kenyatta and his group did. This constitution of 2010 has not caused instability in Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta and his group has done. So if you want to create stability, if you want to bring national cohesion, if you want to bring peace, if you want to include all Kenyans, then you implement the Constitution of Kenya 2010, you obey the laws, you subscribe to the rule of law, and everything else will work. So BBI is a fraud through and through.
Those are your own words, and most Kenyans actually also, some of them believe in what you are actually telling them. Me as a Kenyan, first of all, I also need, as a diasporan, I also need to see something actually which is really going to ensure that Kenya progress forward. From your own words, you have actually described the president, the prime minister. Those are your own words actually. Those are not the beliefs or what we are actually propagating as KDR TV. But you are at liberty to say whatever you want actually to say. As a Kenyan, first of all, Dr. Miguna, I'm also at pains to ensure that our country actually moves forward. But one question I want you to tell Kenyans. You've trashed the BBI. But one question is, do you think that there is some good information in that particular document, or the whole document is just trash?
First of all, Umweri, before you get to the document, ask yourself a simple question, because I think it would be disingenuous to start with a document. Start from the beginning. How did the idea come? In February, well, let's go to February 2018. We were resisting institutional electoral theft that Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to put in Kenya as the default for elections. We were resisting all the companies and organizations and institutions and people that were part of that electoral fraud in 2018. All right? So there was economic boycott of companies that were part of that electoral fraud. We were also resisting police brutality. We were saying that the assassination of Chris Musando, Baby Pendo, and others were outrageous, and that those who perpetrated those crimes should be brought to book. That's what we were saying. How did BBI solve those problems? It didn't. Musando is still dead. Those who killed Musando are the ones that are with Raila talking about BBI. We have not talked about Baby Pendo. We have not talked about the electoral fraud of 2017. We have not brought Uhuru and those who perpetrated that fraud to account. We have not done anything about the other reports that Kenyans have worked and paid for, like the Waki report, the Krigler report, the TJRC report, the Ndumu land report. If you are able to implement all these reports, plus the Auditor General's report, Uhuru, the former Auditor General, released more than 7 very fundamental annual reports on the entire Kenyan state, that if you were to implement, you would eradicate corruption in Kenya. If you did that, we will not be talking about BBI. BBI is nothing but just another report, but now a choreographed one. A report that has been concocted by hand-picked individuals who are not known, who had no authority from the population. Nobody came to me to ask me if I wanted a BBI. Nobody came to you, Omweri, and asked you if you wanted a BBI. Nobody went to Kenyans and asked them if they wanted a BBI. So why would we leave our constitution, the one we brought, after 20, 30 years of struggle, and give it up in exchange for some contrived, fraudulent document cooked up by hand-picked individuals appointed by Raila and Uhuru? Why would we do that? Uhuru wants to protect power he got illegitimately. But what is Raila protecting? Raila is the one whose election was stolen. Raila is the one whose supporters were killed. What has he done about his supporters? Has he gotten justice for his supporters? Who has been jailed that killed his supporters? How many of his supporters have gotten compensation? None. So why would we support this thing? This thing is not for us. This thing is for Uhuru Kenyatta, and Raila Odinga is just a conman, pure and simple.